Join us in sharing intriguing stories from our museum's collections and the Highline Times with host Roger Price on 106.5 Low Power FM, One America Voice. You can find us online too, www.kqwzradio.org. Join us in sharing intriguing stories from our museum's collections.
Hi, I'm Roger Price, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about grocery stores and what were here back in the 40s and the 50s and 60s. But there were quite a few grocery stores around back then. But today I'd like to talk about the Jinzhou family that had a grocery store down on 152nd and Des Moines Way. Uh, Frank Jinzhou, he moved his family to Sunnydale area about 1930, and they had a home down there. And he also had a little garden, and he had a little place there where he could sell vegetables, produce, and different things right on the corner down on 152nd Des Moines Way. He would also take it down to the Pike Place Market and sell downtown. So um, eventually his son, uh, I think it would be a Tony Sr., he opened a store there about 1946, or remodeled the store there in 46. And so it stood there for quite a while. But he had uh, Tony and Frank were his two sons, and I happened to go to school with Tony at Highline. We both graduated together. Tony was always he was he was a good friend, and we had a lot of fun back then. I remember one time he was telling me that in high school he worked for his dad for a number of years in the produce stand. So he saved his money, and he saved, I believe he bought in 67, he bought a brand new, I think it was a Pontiac Le Mans. It was, I believe it was yellow. It was really a nice looking car, but he was kind of the envy of all the other kids. We were seniors at the time, and it was a real super cool car. But anyway, yeah, Tony had his he followed in his dad's and grandpa's footsteps, I guess it would be. And about 1958, Tony, I should say his dad opened a brand new store there, and it was called the Foodland back then. And it was a pretty good sized store. I believe it was in with Associated Grocers they were involved in it. But and next door was also the Olympic Bowling Alley. And then there was also a gas station there too at the time. I'm not sure what it might have been a Shell station, but yeah, so that was, and then that Foodland, it became a different things over the years. I think it was maybe a Blue Ribbon, might have been a Red Apple. At one time, Cushing's also was in there. It was that was a busy corner because Vacca's had a store across the street from there in the Triangle, and that was I don't know, there were several different owners in there, but so that was a busy little spot there. But as Tony graduated, he um, followed in his dad's footsteps, and he started his own produce business in Burien and different areas around. I know he had a produce stand on Ambom and about 148th at one time, and then he where the Walgreens is now, and then he also had a stand over on First Avenue at 148th, which was an old gas station, and I know he also sold Christmas trees there. But following later on, he actually got a location over in West Seattle, not far from Westwood Village, and that was on Barton Street there and 35th, and he did real well there too. Tony did real well wherever he decided to put a fruit stand up because he worked hard, and yeah, every day he would go down and pick up his different produce down at maybe it could have been Pacific Fruit, could have been Rosella's, it could have been a lot of different outfits. But him and his brother Frank also was the same way. Frank had several fruit stands in the Seattle area. I think he sold at the market and possibly not quite sure. Maybe it was over around Newcastle area, I think I heard. And then he had as he got closer to retirement, he had a restaurant here in Burien, next to the Key Bank. I believe he's sold that now, but so they were really hard workers, and so it paid off for them well. I know Tony, he was. He was a good worker, and he demanded a lot, but he was very fair about it too. So I know he was he would practically give you the shirt off his back if he thought that you needed some help. So I have a lot of respect in that way for Tony. He worked hard, but he also played hard too. I mean, they enjoyed his life. He's passed away a number of years ago now, but that was too bad. It was another classmate that we've lost, but so that was there was several of us that were in the grocery business when we got in high school, and then went on. But I know I worked at Burien Food Center there for about 3 or 4 years, and then I went up to Emos IGA for a number of years before I finally started working for Food Giant, which also had a store here in the South End at one time. It was gone when I went to work at the Wallingford QFC Food Giant, but which was later the QFC out there. But anyway, that's for another story. So anyway, I just wanted to share that the Jinzall family had a grocery store down there for a number of years, dating all the way back to about 1930, 33. So it's good stuff.
That's impressive. I mean, they've been here a while. Did any of their grocers have like was it just locally sourced stuff? Was it like any like kind of more foreign foods, India, Japan, that kind of stuff? Or
No, it was basically just well, I don't know. It was mostly they had flowers because I think Mrs. Ginzall, she had a garden, big flower garden. So they would uh, cut the flowers when they were ready to be harvested or whatever. And it was good soil also down in that area, so they could grow practically anything in there. And then it also would sell it to the Pike Place Market, or they had to set up a fruit stand down there market. So it worked out pretty well for them. But it was that was back in the 30s. The grocery stores weren't all that big. There weren't that many around at the time. So I think they might have done pretty well. And then it's actually then Associated Grocers built a big warehouse down on I think it was East Marginal Way down that area. And so that it worked out pretty well for them.
very cool. And so what's standing there now, like for where their groceries used to be?
Right now, it's just a vacant lot down there. I think I believe that the port owns that property right now. So I don't know if what they're gonna it might sit like that for for who knows how long. I suppose it because it can be noisy in there. The planes kind of fly over right about that area. So and it was just off of Des Moines Way, uh, close to Sunnydale. Back in the early days, there was a lot of homes in that area. So I know a lot of my friends lived down in that area of Sunnydale, and we all went to either you went to Sunny Terrace, Sunnydale Grade School, or possibly even Sunset and Sylvester's. So, and as they and as it continued to grow, they built more schools. So Glacier was there from about 1960 to 1980. It wasn't right in that particular area. It was more over around, I believe it was 24th South and 144th, maybe somewhere in there. But yeah, it was a good area. So that was, but as this airport expanded, it just required more land, which is something that has to be done too. So it all kind of worked out.
Of course. Well, before we go, is there any other particular memories you have of the groceries?
Well, let's see. I know at one time around 1965, 66, 67, Burien was still growing through some real big time growth. And so a few of the big box stores, as they were called, maybe back then, they were pretty large stores. I mean, they were like the Fred Meyer we have now. And then over where the LA Fitness is now, there was a, a large grocery store that came in called GovMart Bazaar. And it kind of it had a lot of the grocery owners in the area a little bit concerned because a large store like that can create some problems for the business owners because they do such tremendous business and they say they can sell for less. So and that kind of is unknown. I don't know if they really were that much cheaper that made it worthwhile, or if they like the home uh, atmosphere of a small store too. I thought that when I was at Burien Food Center, we had so many good customers in there that it was a tremendous little store for such a small store. But yeah, there were a lot of people from Three Tree Point and Gregory Heights, Seahurst, and a lot of them shopped in that area. And same way when it was up at Emo's IGA there on 136th and Ambon. That was a smaller store uh, to, to today's sizes of grocery stores, but it still did pretty well. And then it had a draw from the Beering Gardens, Chelsea Park, and that was a lot of families with a lot of kids. They shopped in there, so it worked out pretty good.
Oh, that's really interesting to hear. Well, thank you for just letting us know about all the stuff that in the past that happened here.
Yeah, well, that's no problem. I know that just recently, I'd like to, this is a little bit different subject, but I'd like to talk about what they're doing out there on 188th right now. They're installing lights inside the underpass, 188th where the runway is, and it makes it a little better it's easier to see now when you drive through there. It was a little bit as scary before because it would you on a sunny day you'd drive in there and boy it was like driving into a tunnel with no lighting. So that's going to be quite an improvement. But that tunnel was actually our underpass was actually built in 1961, and it was so that the airport could extend the main runway another 1,700 feet to the south. And so the runway ended up being over 11,900 feet long after the completion of that. And that helped quite a bit. And back then, while they were constructing that underpass, uh, they set up a temporary road to the south of the runway there, and you could drive your car if you wanted to go over to Highway 99 or out to Angle Lake or something, you drive around the end of the runway and then catch it back up on the other side of where the runway ended. But yeah, sometimes people would stop and pull their car over and they could watch the planes come in. It was back then, it was pretty exciting to see a big 707 come flying in because they were a pretty big jet and made a lot of noise, but it was fun for the people to experience that. So I just wanted to add that into the uh, why they're doing that work out there. It's helped to help the visual through that underpass there, and it was back in the 61 where that was first built. So, and then there's also on the ends, there's also some it looks like airplane wings, but those, I believe those aren't real airplane wings. I think it's a cement that they've made look like airplane wings. So people that have kind of been curious about that over the years. So anyway, that's where we stand for today. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I look forward to your stories that are here to come.
Okay.